Hi, this is Athena StarSeed. This is still day 4 of my detox cleanse. This is part 2 of David Alexander English with an infinite series that's going to keep going on and on and on. And you can go find him at davidalexanderenglish.com. That's a brilliant name. But listen, so we were just talking about his novel and Enoch. He's coming back to teach these shepherds and these farmers, very simple people, what he learned in the heavens.
Okay, so Enoch has gone to, he's out in the field. I'll start over a little bit. Okay, so he's out in the field, being a shepherd, and then an angel or divine messenger comes to him and takes him up. Okay, takes him up to the north, takes him up into the ethers, whatever, and they teach him all of this stuff like sacred geometry, celestial observation, the stars, the heavens, all that kind of stuff, ley lines, all this earth energy. They teach him all this stuff, and then they bring him back, and they tell him to start a school. All right, so the thing is, he is the great grandfather of Noah and the father of Methuselah, the person that lived. So the person that lived 969 years, according to the Bible, right? And Enoch lived on earth for 365 years. So you have this, we know that if you just do the math, it's just a little over 1,000 years before the actual flood.
Wow.
Right? And we know that the flood happened 12,800 years ago. And so we're talking about around 14,000 years ago.
Tell them what they're teaching. Those
Okay.
farmers.
So imagine, he's a shepherd, and when he was taken up, he was taken to a place that was where he had access to remember who he really was, where he really came from, and why it is that he chose to come to earth this time. He was taken to a place where he could remember the Akashic record. He could remember the past, the future, and all time and space. Okay? So he knows who he really is beyond Enoch, right?
Right.
As an infinite immortal being.
Right.
Okay, so he's brought back to his little community of farmers and shepherds and everything like that, and now he's tasked with creating a school.
This is the kind of school I want to go to. I want to go to this school.
To prepare his community for, and whoever else pays attention, for what they know is going to come. They know that this comet is going to have, if you access the Akashic record, you can see that.
You're not seeing that. That's happening again, are you?
No, that's not what I'm seeing.
Okay, good.
And we have
inner Earth to go to.
No. we have choices.
We have choices, timelines.
We have options, exactly. All right.
Okay.
So
Woo! We got options.
It's a deep. We can go off in that direction, but let me finish.
I just want to make sure that you're not prophesying as a descendant of Enoch.
I'm not prophesying that necessarily is going to happen. However, the reason why they knew this was going to happen is because 30,000 years ago, approximately 30,000 years ago, a comet that was about 58 miles wide came into the solar system, and it broke up into smaller pieces. And that comet is still going around. It goes around from Jupiter, the orbit of Jupiter and Saturn, to the orbit of Mercury in 3.3 years. That's how fast that thing is going.
Wow.
We have nothing that can travel that fast right now, right? So you can imagine if a piece of that, if a small piece of that comet broke off, moving at that rate, and smashed into the Earth's atmosphere, what kind of forces we'd be
Don't
dealing
imagine that for too long.
No, but it's broken up since then, and it's created what we call the torrid meteor showers. Okay, and the Earth goes through that. All the inner planets go through that orbit that elliptical orbit between Saturn and Jupiter and Mercury, and the Earth goes through it twice a year. Once around June and July, and once later in November, from October to December. And so right now that comet is only about 5 kilometers wide, right?
So what is this? Tell me more about this story.
I'm gonna get, you got me going in a couple of different directions. I just want to finish this if I may, right? So
he's also an astrologer, so there's a lot of, he loves the celestial bodies.
Okay, so what happens is, you may have heard of the Tunguska event that happened in over Russia, Siberia in 1908. A big something came out of the sky and it laid waste to a lot of real estate. And luckily there were very few people there and nobody was killed or hurt or anything. But it really shook people up. And that was part of that comet. All right? And so for the past 30,000 years, this comet has been going around and it's been, little fragments of it have been, breaking off and whatnot. Well, 12,000 years ago was a major impact. And there was another one about 1,000 years after that.
That was the flood.
Yeah,
That's the
one
flood.
was the flood, right?
That's the flood.
Okay, so back to Enoch. So he's brought back and he's tasked with letting people know what's up, okay? But how do you do that? You're a shepherd. Your community knows you as a shepherd and a farmer, right? And you've got to explain to them, now that you know who you really are as an infinite immortal being, you've got to explain to them the Akashic Record. You've got to explain to them the basic structure of the universe, right? And so he managed to do it. He created a school that tasked the students with teaching.
I want to go to that school.
Right? And it was so successful that at one point, another divine messenger or God himself came to him and said, okay, you're done, and took him up. And that was witness.
That's what I want to do. I want to go up that way too.
So that's where you come from. Why you want to leave so fast?
It's not so fast. I've been here for millions of lifetimes.
You're not done.
I haven't even really started.
Exactly.
I only painted like 2 paintings.
Exactly. So
look at all these paintings.
So this is
look at this. Hold on, I gotta film that. Look at that little wing, little butt wings right there. The universe is loving me forever. Let's get it in the sunlight. Let's see. The universe is loving me forever. Aww.
So here's the thing, okay? The story doesn't end when he gets taken up. Because what people know of him is that he got transfigured into the archangel Metatron, as in Metatron's cube.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
It's starting to sound familiar.
So like the scribe of the gods, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Well, the thing is, what came to me while I was in the middle of writing, I'm about 60 pages into this novel, and was that when he was taken up the first time, he was taken to a place called the Place of Remembrance. That's what I call it in the novel, right? Which is essentially the Akashic Record. And so he saw who he was, right? So it's not like he was transfigured into Metatron. He was Metatron before, and that's when I realized, this is kind of just spoiler alert, is that everyone that is alive is an incarnation of an archangel.
Yes! I believe that to be true.
The idea is that
we're all
really
archangels.
Simple. It's really simple. Is that there's the one. Everything's one. We're all one. Okay. And then the one, it fractals out.
It fractals out.
It individuates
into the many.
It creates it creates individuated aspects of itself, right? And those individuated aspects of itself remain in its orbit forever, right? Because there's no time. It's all time and space and all that kind of stuff. It all happens in an instant to the one, right? Because infinite consciousness has forever. It is forever. There isn't anything that isn't it, right? So eventually it would have to create a place where it could experience the illusion of being separate from itself, right?
Welcome to Earth School.
Right?
See all these different us's? See them all? Look at them all. This is all God. God skateboarding, God walking, God flying.
Right.
God is a palm tree. God is this gorgeous painting right here.
Right. There isn't anything that could possibly exist unless it is infinite consciousness. And that's the key of the flower of life, because there's nothing that could exist in the physical universe unless it is the flower of life, which is the what we call the electromagnetic field of the universe.
Did you just give away the end of the story?
No. No.
We're all one.
That's the beginning of the story.
That's the beginning. The beginning and the middle
and the end. Right. Yeah. So
the end that goes ... that keeps going.
Exactly.
And going. And you know what? Listen, I'm going to have you buy the book. He's going to tell me the rest of the story, but you have to go online and get the book. DavidAlexanderEnglish.com. This is Athena StarSeed. This is a series called Raising Reverence, broadcasting from Venice, beautiful Broad Beach. All right, stay tuned.